Hey everybody, welcome back to A Link Between Oracles.
Hello.
God damn it. This is this is going to be the 5th episode of our series. Today we'll be focusing on the 5th and 6th, if we get to it, dungeon in Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Those are the video games we're playing.
Woo!
Jack, how's it going?
It's going good. So in stark contrast to how long it took me to get to the 4th dungeon, I think I walked south maybe 4 or 5 screens and literally just strolled into the next dungeon.
Boom, right away.
The tree, the Deku tree, Mako tree, whatever, Mako tree, whatever it is,
yeah.
Told me it's going to be at Spyglass Lake. Except there is no Spyglass Lake. There's no lake. It's just...
A spyglass?
Doesn't even look like a spyglass. There's nothing about it that looks like spyglass. Anyway, so now that I had the power of autumn, the season of autumn, I switched that over there, and there are these things that can only be moved in autumn, and they are these stone mushrooms that become fruitful, I guess, and then bloom in autumn and allow you to pick them up. So I picked those up, went straight into the dungeon, and I was now in Unicorn's Cave.
Oh, shit.
Also known as the Ball Dungeon.
The Ball Dungeon?
It's the Ball Dungeon because you walk in and within 2 screens you see this big black and red ball that has an N on it.
Huh.
And they're kind of scattered around this dungeon. There's some more side platforming areas and something really cool where in one of the side platforming dungeons there's some breakable blocks if you use bombs. It actually leads to a whole nother part of the dungeon that I'm not sure is required for you to go there. So it's pretty cool. You just get like the dungeon map or the compass from that room, and it's a nice little like, you went exploring and took a chance, and that's pretty cool. It unlocked this new area.
Good for you.
You make your way through this dungeon with relative ease, and you get the say it with me,
Switch
magnetic gloves.
What?
Yeah, it's the magnetic gloves, and the magnetic gloves are just that, magnetic, and they have 2 settings, N and S. So you go back to this ball, which are balls, which are everywhere, and depending on if you're on N or S, it'll either attract it towards you or shoot it away from you.
For negative and positive.
Yes, exactly right. And so there's a lot of puzzles around those, like kind of plinkoing them. I think that's what is Plinko, the one that is the like game where you drop the ball and it like falls down on things.
Could be. Could be.
You kind of like you'll guide it through a maze. You'll do a whole bunch of stuff with these balls. This is the Ball Dungeon. But there's also these flat little like magnet cylinders that seem to be stationary, and you can attract yourself towards them or shoot yourself away. So like if you're standing next to one and it's an S and you're on N, you go and it'll just shoot you across the screen. Cool. Or it'll pull you towards one. So there's some cool gap puzzles with those as well. And then the last thing they did, which I haven't seen them do since in the 2 dungeon or the lead up to the next dungeon, but there are these kind of diamond shaped these moving diamond shapes. There are these moving diamond shapes that kind of spin in a circle, kind of turning maybe half of a turn with each second. And what you can do is you can attract yourself to one and then hold that charge and float as it shifts you around, and then you can push yourself away to a new platform. Cool. So they did a lot of fun stuff with the magnetic gloves, which is a really cool shake up from the hook shot and from even the switch hook. So it's really cool that they've been like, they expanded on that between the games.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I fought a mini boss named Siger. That's right, it's a spinning tiger. Oh. And so it's a tiger that when you hit its tail enough will start spinning around with little like spikes and crazy patterns around the room. But you eventually defeat him. He's not that hard. And that was pretty much it in terms of challenge for the rest of the dungeon. It was mostly just like get through it and get done. And then you get to the boss, and his name is Dig Dogger. And Dig Dogger is this giant thing with an eye.
Wow.
He kind of looks like like a spiked Koopa shell guy with just an eye instead of a body, and he runs around, and there is a spiked ball that falls down in this boss fight, and you use the magnetic glove to, when he's done jumping around, you pull it towards you and into him. But if you don't carefully do it, it'll run into you as well and cause you damage. And then when it gets really low, he breaks into a bunch of little dig doggers, and you have to use the spiked ball to kill them all, or else he reforms, and you have to do the whole fight over again. And then at the end of that, I got my 5th essence of nature, called the Nurturing Warmth.
Nurturing Warmth. How nice.
And that was the 5th dungeon.
Now, Jack, I do have a question about that dungeon, and that is, what the fuck does that have to do with unicorns at all?
I don't know.
Because it's called the Unicorn's Cave, is that right?
Unicorn's Cave.
And that had
maybe on the outside there's a couple spikes. Maybe it's the fact that Dig Dogger has spikes and one eye.
So Cyclops?
I guess. I don't know. I really don't know.
Weirdest dungeon name ever.
So what did you experience on your 5th?
So my 5th dungeon, we're getting out of the last dungeon, which was Skull Dungeon. It was so metal. You hear that you now need to go to the Rolling Ridge, which is the home of the Goron race in Labrina. So that was cool to be able to see some familiar faces. They really changed the Gorons.
Yeah, in the handhelds.
I mean, like, well, no, not even. I mean, because, like, if you remember them from A Link to the Past, they were, like, what the fuck, unrecognizable. And, like, now, and they're evil as well. And then I think after that...
just like the Zoras were evil.
Exactly. And I think the next time you saw them after that was Ocarina of Time, where they kind of distinguished the look. And they look a lot more like that in this game. So that was cool, and they were definitely, like, more familiar looking.
Wait, hold on. Gorons were evil?
Yeah, they were enemies. You had to fight them. They're
those guys!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they, like, throw bombs at you and shit.
Man, Zoras and Gorons both started out as...
evil.
Like, evil guys.
Yeah. Things change. So you make your way around this Rolling Ridge kind of mountain area. You do find the Pegasus seeds here in Oracle of Ages, so finally I'm seeing them, before the 5th dungeon, where you got them quite a lot earlier. And here you see Great Moblin's Keep as well. You experienced that already a couple episodes ago. You mentioned Great Moblin's Keep.
Yeah. Same
kind of thing here. There's the Moblin King. He's up on his throne. His minions are throwing small bombs at you, and he's throwing a large bomb at you.
Okay.
And so you just have to pick up his bomb that he throws at you and throw it back at him. You have to time it correctly, or he'll just take it back and throw it at you. So you have to wait till it's about to explode, and then throw it at him. You defeat him, and he is defeated. I mean, his whole keep is also explodes.
Yet you are miraculously fine.
You're totally fine. Yeah, no. He makes it out alive as well, but he's just kind of like, oh, you're an asshole. Go away. That's kind of his thing. But the Gorons come and thank you for this. And this is all happening, I believe, in the present. And they give you a bomb flower for this. Mm-hmm. So you take this bomb flower and take it back to the past, where there are Gorons who need this bomb flower because they're like, oh my god, our leader is buried under these rocks, help us! And so you give them the bomb flower, and they use it to explode these rocks that are covering up their leader. And the leader comes out, and he's just like, oh, hey guys, you thought that was... No, I'm fine. I was fine in there. I was just hanging out. And they're like, oh. And you're all embarrassed. So that happens. So yeah, but you free the elder.
For everyone.
It's awkward for everyone. But the elder gives you the crown key, which is going to be the key for the next dungeon, which, you guessed it, is called the Crown Dungeon. And why? Why, Jack?
It's shaped like a crown.
It's shaped like a motherfucking crown.
How many floors?
We only have 2 floors here. So the first floor looks like... so if you're thinking about a very royal crown, one you might find on the back of like a checker piece or something. You know what I'm talking about?
So you got that bottom part that's like the really long, round shaped type
right,
part.
And then you have like the hat portion, which is like the fluffy part in the center. You know what I'm talking about? So you have like the metal part around the crown.
Oh, so you're saying that one is the metal with the spikes that normally hold the jewels, and then the other one is just the royal...
The fluff.
Yeah.
The royal fluff, yeah. Royal Fluff. That's like Gambit's special, except for like if he was really nice.
Right.
Royal Fluff. So you go through this crown dungeon. The crown dungeon I noticed was like, I know. The crown dungeon I noticed was a lot more spread out than other dungeons, just in the room structure. You like, a lot of the times you'll walk into a room, you'll pretty much be able to scope out, oh, this is pretty much the size of the entire room. It's not too big. Here it's just like you have to walk to like one side or the other side of the room. Like you have to side scroll quite a bit.
Because a lot of the dungeons that I've experienced, the rooms are huge.
Yeah.
They're not small rooms.
So this is the first time where the rooms are, I wouldn't say the first time they're huge, but it's the first time where it's so like spacious, I guess. And royal, because we are in the crown dungeon. Okay.
Ooh.
Something.
Neil.
Yeah, nailed it. So a lot of another thing you notice in this dungeon is there's a lot of those switchy switches where it's like those little like, beep, you like hit it with your sword and it turns so like all the red tiles are like, there's like red like fences kind of.
And like all the blue ones go up, the red ones go down, and vice versa.
There's a lot of that in this dungeon. It was kind of annoying, but it was fine. So not.
Did you know that if you time it right, you can pop the one that you need, but still be standing on the ones and jump from those to other ones to get it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think the game intends you to figure that out, because there's a lot of times where it's like, if you didn't do that, I don't know how you would get through this.
You have to place a bomb and Pegasus seed across the room as fast as you can.
Ridiculous. Yeah. But there's a lot of like pretty simple puzzles in here. I didn't have too much trouble getting through it, except there's this one thing, and that is basically that the basement is, I think the basement holds like a single key that you need to get to the room that has the boss key on the first floor. The problem is, to get to the basement is a bitch. There's only one way to get there. You have to go through like one of the Mario 2D things. And then like you finally get to the basement. I got there and I was like, oh damn, I need a key from the first floor that I was missing from the first floor to proceed through here. So I have to go back to the first floor, and I got a key, and then I got another key. I was like going down to the basement with 2 keys, and I was like, I'm fancy. I got the one and I got an extra one. So I go back down to the basement. I open the area I need to, and then I was like, oh, good thing I have this key, because I needed another one. So I go through, and then I needed another key. There was a third key that I was missing, and I had to go back up to the first floor, and I was like, are you kidding me? So now I have to get another key. So it was a bitch. I had to go back and forth a lot.
Hey, it's not called the Crown Dungeon for nothing. You've got to lock up all of those fancy rooms.
There's a lot of fancy rooms that need some locking. Another thing that was cool in this dungeon, the item that you got is the Cane of Samaria, which was cool. You may remember that from A Link to the Past.
I do, and I'm wondering if I'm actually going to get that or not.
Maybe you will, maybe you won't. We'll have to see. But the Cane of Samaria, for those of you who don't know, is a cane. You just kind of go, whapa, and you whip it.
Whapa.
You go, whapa! You get pitted. You get so pitted.
So pitted.
So you wave the cane. God damn it.
Oh, boy.
So you wave the cane. God damn it.
Oh, man, dude. Oh, I love that video.
Me too. Oh, me too.
So pitted.
Okay. Getting back to it. So the Cane of Samaria, you wave the cane and it creates a block in front of you, which is pretty useful. So now you have the ability to create blocks. This also came in handy, which I found surprising. It came in handy in the Mario 2D areas with like the side scrolling. So you wave the cane and then like you have a platform now that you can jump on top of with the rocks
and get more height.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really nice combination that I didn't expect at all. And then there was the mini boss here was Smasher, who I immediately recognized from Link's Awakening. I'm not sure if he's been in this game yet. Maybe this is his first time, but I definitely remembered him from Link's Awakening. It's this guy. He looks like a little doggo who barks, and he's like, "Row, row," and he like has like a little ball, and he like gets it, and he throws it at you and tries to kill you, and you're like, Smasher, don't do that. And you get the ball, and you throw it at him, and you kill him instead.
Aww.
Oh, Smasher, classic. So that was a nice little surprise. Always nice to see him and kill him. And then you continue on in this dungeon. Something I found which was cool was there's one part where there's all these there's like statues that you have to move, and there's some that are colored, you know, like the colored set, the yellow, blue, and like red ones. And there's this one room where you see the tiles where you have to move them, and there's like 3 yellow ones and 3 blue and 2 red. And it's like once you move, if you move one of the yellow statues, all the yellow statues move with it. So I thought that was cool. And then you have to use your Cane of Samaria to create blocks to stop certain ones from moving. So I thought that was pretty creative. I like that a lot. It was a fun one. And then the final boss here was a total dick. His name was Smog. He's, the best way I could describe him is like a cloud demon guy. And he's like, he starts off douchey. Just like from the moment you enter, he's like, time to play my little game. You're like, God damn it. And he's like, you have to reconstruct me. And if you don't, it'll all be over. And it's like, okay. So, you know those like really annoying enemies that you can't beat in these dungeons? Those like little like flashy spheres?
Anti-fairies?
Not the anti-fairies, the ones that just go around the perimeter of the room and fuck you up. Because the anti-fairies have like the skulls in the middle.
The Mario Sons.
Yeah, they're like there's the annoying things that just go around the perimeter. So he's basically, he turns into like 2 or 3 of those at a time and creates blocks in the center of the room and then just goes around them. And you have to use the Cane of Samaria to basically stop their path or change their path so that they link together and form
like
up.
Hit each other.
Pretty much. It was annoying as hell. Meanwhile, he's like blowing smoke puffs at you that do very little damage, but it's annoying and it adds up.
Right.
And he does this maybe like, I think it was like it's definitely at least 4, maybe 5 times that you have to do this puzzle like over and over. And finally you beat him and you're like, thank God, you're an asshole. And so that was that for that dungeon. Did not like that boss at all. But the final thing that you win from him is the Sacred Soil. Sacred Soil. The description for that: all that lies sleeping in the bosom of the earth will know that nourishing warmth of the sacred soil. So like rich, these descriptions.
Which is funny because like mine was balmy days build strong saplings with their nurturing warmth.
Cool.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's that for the 5th. That's the 5th dungeon in Oracle of Ages. We still have time. Why don't we move into the 6th? Would you like to talk about that?
Yes. So, something that I forgot to visit on my 4th dungeon crazy adventure 2 there. Something that I forgot to visit on the crazy adventure to my 4th dungeon was the fact that I had stumbled upon in 2 different instances these jewels that I didn't really know what they were for, and then I found at this place called the Tamal. I think it's the Tamal Ruins. Some ruins of some kind. There were 4 slots, and 2 of the jewels I found fit into these slots. You'd walk up and they just automatically enter. Then I also found a man who said, "Show me all of these essences, and I will." I long for the day when I see the soothing rain, the warm heat, all the bullshit.
The warm heat, the cold cool.
Yeah, the cool, all the essence of the gift of soil, the gift of time, nature. I want to see all of them. And when you do, he gives you the round jewel, and then you can go to the shop, use your member's card, because there's a back end to the shop for this place. You can upgrade your seed satchel, and you can pick up a treasure map.
Nice.
And the treasure map shows you where all the jewels are, but I had already found most of them, so I just had to go to the last location. It was really easy pick up. Picked it up, and then I went to the Tamal Ruins. On the way, I have my phonograph, right, from the Song of Storms guy. So right. I'm going through the Tamal Ruins, and I accidentally stumbled across a gold Lionel, my 3rd golden beast. So I beat him. Took a long time. I ended up using a magic potion because I didn't realize how strong Lionels are even by themselves. So a golden Lionel was just like crazy. And I kind of made my way through and into the Lost Woods. And the Lost Woods, compared to Ages, which I know there was something Lost Woodsy near the beginning, right?
There was, yeah.
With the little bunnies.
With fairies, yeah.
Is dark. It is overgrown. It's very shadowy. There's a lot of monsters in there. In fact, my least favorite enemy in all of Zelda, fucking likes. They just pour out of the side of every room in the Lost Woods. They will kind of pour out, and it's just really hard not to get your shield eaten if you're trying to fight them.
Gross.
But you can find the secret location in the Lost Woods, and you find a Deku Scrub who is sitting in the ground, and he goes, "Oh my god, I just want to hear some music. Please play me some music." And you have a phonograph. So you play him some music, and he gives you a hint. As the seasons get warmer, head left. And so you get to the center of the Lost Woods. You change the season to winter. and you go left. Then you change it to autumn, because it's a little less cold than winter. Go left. Spring left, summer left, and you find the noble sword. And I now have a sword that shoots laser beams.
What? Broken.
Yes. So not only are the likes not a problem anymore, it's a lot of fun to shoot things with laser beams from your swords.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Feels like I finally am now like the hero of time, the hero of, you know,
seasons.
The hero of seasons, the hero of dreams, and the hero of the dark world, or whatever it's called. Hero from the past. What do they refer to Link to the Past Link as? The hero of
Chosen Hero?
Chosen Hero? Because it's the same Link.
Yeah, I think it may be the Chosen Hero.
And then you go through Lost Woods. It doesn't take that long to kind of figure out what seasons you need and how to navigate the forest through some clues that you get through NPC characters. And then you make your way to the Ancient Ruins. And this is actually the first time that I got another hint of the storyline, where this random lady that I'd never seen before crackled down from lightning and said, it's useless, you cannot save Din, and if you do save her, we will bring darkness upon the world and chaos, and you don't understand what we are trying to accomplish, and then disappears.
Good.
And I was like, oh, this is the first time I've interacted with someone that wasn't a tree since the very beginning of the game that relates to the story. And I kind of forgot there was a story. But I entered the Ancient Ruins. And this Zelda dungeon can suck my left nut. I hated everything about this dungeon in the way that it was set up. I did not like it. First of all, it was one of those those puzzle dials that turns and then makes you go back around to go the opposite way. And it literally added 20 to 30 minutes onto my traversal of this dungeon, just trying to get around the initial 4 rooms. In addition to that, there's a lot of holes that you fall through, and just a lot of pointless. This dungeon was a lot of pointless rooms and backtracking that I didn't feel like I needed to do, and there wasn't a lot of treasure. And it took me a long time to finally get to the item. But when I finally got it, it was the level 2 magical boomerang, which means if I hold down the button that I use to throw it, I can actually control the direction it goes. So I can make it like fly in circles if the room's big enough and just start like hitting things. Which, kind of similar to the Seed Satchel, I had to learn how to aim it so it would go around corners to flick switches. And this also sees another instance of one of the coolest just interactable items in handheld Zeldas that I've noticed, which is the trampoline. I love the trampoline. Trampoline's really fun. You have to figure out where to jump on it to get up to the level above. It's a nice little thing. But other than that, this dungeon was pretty annoying and kind of just, it was a chore.
Yeah.
And then I got to the second floor and more of it was a chore. And then I got through that and the third part of it was a chore. And they started throwing quicksand at me for no reason, even though I'm on top of a mountain in a castle, and it didn't make sense. And then I got to a very familiar mini-boss. His name is Vire. He's a gargoyle Batman who just talks a big game, and every time you hit him gets angry and yells at you and goes, oh, now you'll get it, and then does basically nothing. He swoops on you a lot, but it's not that hard of a boss. And then I made my way through the rest of the dungeon and got to Manhandla. The most annoying boss I think I've ever faced in a Zelda game to date. I died 5 times. It was infuriating. The entire room is different quicksand currents going different ways, and like a few blocks to stand on. You can only harm Manhandla. You can only harm this fucking cactus with Audrey-like faces. Look at this thing. 4 Audrey mouths.
Yeah.
And it's on one of the buzz blobs, the things that if you hit electrify you.
Perfect.
So you can't attack with your sword. You have to use the magical boomerang, and you can only hurt it when its mouth is open. But the hitboxes for its mouth don't really make sense, and you can hit it a couple times when its mouth is open, and it does no damage. So I was infuriated by the end of this. And I got the blowing wind, which is kind of fucking pretty damn
accurate for.
It's there's a word for it, but it's pretty damn accurate for what I felt, because when I got it, I was just like, you know what? Yeah, you can blow me with the fucking blowing wind.
The blowing wind.
And I got that, and that was the end of the dungeon, and that's actually where I have left off. I haven't played anything yet because I have an idea of where I'm supposed to go for the next Golden Beast, because it's one of the only places I haven't been, but I can't access it yet. And I don't want to spoil it because it relates to Oracle of Ages in some way, and I'm waiting for you to get there first.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And my quote was, "Sweet fruit is born when pollen is carried by the blowing wind."
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So cool. I came out of Crown Dungeon, and there was a Goron who was like, "Hey, check out these games that we got going on at Rolling Ridge." And you're like, "Okay."
Shooting gallery?
Yeah, so there's a shooting gallery. That's one of the games that you can go to. And you could do that both in the past and the present. And as well as this other place, which was kind of like a dancing hall. It's like a dancing game where you talk to the Goron and he basically...
Ding,
yeah,
ding,
exactly. It's
ding,
like...
Ding.
It's like he sets up a certain amount of like moves that you do, and then you dab, and then like you do it over and over again.
Oh my god, they dab. You're not even joking.
They're just basically like, yeah, it's like, and it's like, it has to be all rhythmic. So I thought it was actually pretty cool. Like, as a musician, I thought that was cool, like doing that, like, you know, like, because it comes out with different stuff rhythmically that you have to like pay attention to, and like, I don't know, I feel bad for people who would have like no rhythm at all. It's just funny because the Goron is just like, we don't really care how you dance as long as you hold the rhythm. But that was cool.
Cut to Link just fucking going. Cut to Link just dab, 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 dab.
Dabbing uncontrollably. So I went to this other, to the shooting gallery. Okay, which is misleading. I was like, oh, shooting gallery, cool. I'm going to have to do some shit with the seed shooter.
On the minecart?
No.
Oh.
I think that was another one that... Yeah, that was another one in here. Another one of the games that you can do. But this one was a shooting gallery where it shoots like a little bullet at you.
And you have to hit it back,
with
right?
your sword. You have to angle it.
It's baseball.
It's ridiculous. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you never use that ever in the game anywhere else except for here.
They just made a little baseball game.
I know. It was ridiculous. But I did that. I got the key item, which was like a lava juice. And then if you do it for 400 points or higher, you get the boomerang. So I got the boomerang. So that was cool.
Have you not got the boomerang yet?
This is the first boomerang.
That must be where the thing comes across. Because I got the boomerang on my first journey to Subrosia as just kind of like I win it in a dance contest.
Yeah, exactly. And I just got it. And that's even, I feel like that's not even common knowledge. Like, that's for 400 points or above. They don't even mention it. You know, it's just kind of a thing. But you go through, you get, I mean, like, I'm not going to go through too much of the side questing here because it's essentially you just talk to the Gorons enough and they give you enough keys you get two keys. You get an old key and a new key for Mermaid's Cave, which is the next dungeon. So Mermaid's Cave I was not a fan of. It was not as magical as it would seem. There was a lot of these rotating platforms. There's a double one right there.
Yep, it's some bullshit.
Yeah, double rotating platform. But there's a lot of stuff going on in the Mermaid's Dungeon. Namely, like, it looks... Okay, so I got in, and I was like, oh, there's some stuff in the basement. There's, like, only, like, 2 or 3 small rooms in the basement. And then the main dungeon was pretty tiny as well. I was like, okay. So I pretty much...
Have you got your flippers yet?
Yeah, I have the flippers.
Okay.
But I went through this dungeon, and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, pretty easy. But then I was missing a key for something. And I was like, I don't know where to go. And I was like, I see a treasure chest in the basement, but I can't get there. I don't know how to get there. So I look, and, like, the room that's above the room... in the basement where I need to go, there's nothing there to like get there except for some deep water. And I was like, okay. Every time I went in there, I just died. So I was like, okay, maybe not there. So I go outside of the dungeon and I play the harp to go back to the past. And then I go back to the past and re-enter the Mermaid's Dungeon, and it's an entirely new dungeon. It's basically 2 in 1. And I was like, are you kidding me? I have to go through this whole thing again. So I did. And in the second dungeon, of this mermaid's in the second part of Mermaid's Dungeon, you find the next item in this game, which is the mermaid suit.
The mermaid suit.
And it's just
it lets you swim in deep water.
It lets you swim in deep water, but basically it's like Link's a mermaid now. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Like you are a mermaid. So there's a lot of those Mario side scroller kind of things going on for that, and you're just basically like diving underwater as a mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
So that lets you traverse the deep water, which helps. It helped me get to the basement, get those keys that I need. And essentially I made my way back up to the boss, who is the Octagon, which is not an actual, he's not like a shape. He's basically a giant Octorok.
I'm just going to cut you off here. The only reason the mermaid suit wasn't there in the present is because you had already gone back in the past and taken it away. Otherwise it would have been there.
Totally. Would have been there the whole time. Wow, I'm the asshole, really. So the Octagon, he was just basically like a giant Octorok kind of looking guy. Interestingly enough, you do this in two parts. You kind of start the
his name is Ron.
Yeah, no, Octagon.
Oh, his name is Octagon. Whoops.
Yeah. But you do it in two parts. Like you're on the platform in the beginning, and he kind of is like shooting stuff at you. But then he turns around and you just slash him with your sword, and it's very easy. But then eventually he's like, enough of that, and he dives underneath the water. So you have to follow him with your mermaid tail. So you go underwater, and you can use your switch hook underwater as well, which actually didn't help. It was a seed shooter that did do the trick. You could use your seed shooter as well, and so I just shot him a few times. Overall, pretty easy boss. Not my favorite dungeon, but I finished it off, and I was rewarded with the Lonely Peak, which is the next essence of time. The description for it is a proud, lonely spirit that remains stalwart even in trying times. Yeah, way more poetic than yours.
Yeah, dude.
So that was cool. And that was the last thing that I had seen, except for right when you exit the dungeon, I know that the Maku Tree contacts you and says, Queen Ambi has just exited her castle for the first time since all this fiasco happened. This is your chance to save Nehru. Go now, basically. So that's where we're going to start really next time. Yeah. Actually continuing with the story. I know it's like just sometimes it's peppered in there, so it's nice. But that's all that I got. Any final comments from you, Jack?
No, not anything new that we haven't talked about yet. I'm excited to see the last two dungeons that we got, and then the final confrontation. I'm sure we'll do probably one episode on the final confrontation, and we'll try and do an episode for the last two. But who knows? Because there might be more questing. Who knows? Have you found any cool rings that you like really, really like?
Honestly, no. And the thing is, I've been putting it so on the back burner. Like, I haven't even been back to the ring store. I found some rings, and I haven't even appraised them yet.
Have you been planting gadget nuts?
I have, okay. Yeah. And I still have to pick some of those up. But a lot of the rings, I just haven't even gone back.
I found the Zora ring, which lets me hold my breath underwater indefinitely. So I can just, like, when going through a water part, and Zoras are just, like, popping up and trying to shoot fireballs and under the radar.
Nice.
I found a quicksand ring, which means quicksand doesn't affect me anymore, but I found that after that boss.
Oh, no.
There's a feather ring, the rocks ring, that makes it so crumbling floors don't crumble away.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice one. That helped me through a while. And then there is stuff like the Subrosian ring, there's a Octorok ring, there's Moblin ring. It turns you into these enemies, and you just kind of walk around. And then there is one that is one of my favorite rings to just have in my ring box, even if I don't use it. And it's the punch ring, which is if you unequipped both items from your A and B, you can then go punch things to death.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to look at my rings and actually get them appraised and see if
get them appraised. They make things a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. Yeah, I should do that. Well, I'll do that next time. Thanks for listening, everyone. And
yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, hope to see you next time here, or rather hope to have you hear us, because I can't see you anyway. See you guys next time on A Link Between Oracles.